because I really want to be not just a Muslim, but a devout Muslim. And I was very discouraged by the way a lot of Muslims were treating me.
So whatever works for you that you can contribute to the world in a positive manner, do it.
Exactly.
If you're doing things and you're not contributing in a positive manner, don't do it.
But
Exactly.
why just limit yourself to Islam, though? I mean, there's, five major world religions and hundreds of others. I'm just saying that why dedicate yourself to one specific, information source as opposed to studying Buddhism or Hinduism or Judaism or Christianity or anything else? I mean, what is this fascination of yours with Islam?
That's a great question. And as someone who reverted from Christianity to Islam, right? Even as a Christian, I read books on Taoism. I read Confucius, his book, Confucius, right? Because I wanted to understand how different people from different perspectives were seeing God. In my mind, I think we all serve the same God, right? Especially if you say you're serving the God of Abraham, okay? You may disagree on things. That's fine.
Yeah, but if you that problem with that is that's an all or nothing statement. And in cognitive behavioral therapy, that is a cognitive distortion disorder. It's called all or nothing thinking, that we all serve the same God. I would just say, even if that's true, we're still talking about databases in a way, or different large language models. And so,
yes,
yeah, it's like the Tower of Babel. The challenge becomes there can be no peace because we're all operating in silos.
Agreed. Exactly. And so to that point, oh my God, you make an amazing point, Mojo, because when I reverted to Islam, and I was getting a lot of heat from Muslims, and people even telling me that I'm not a Muslim, that I only reverted because of a woman, right? Which was just so disrespectful to me, because like the thing that I'm most passionate about, like, is my God, right? The thing I'm most in love with. I've never loved a woman as much as I love my God. I'll never love any family member as much as I love my God. So for someone to say that about the thing that is the most important thing to me in my life, I mean, there are a lot of things that don't trigger me on Clubhouse, but that one hit. That one hurt. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. And so I always tell Muslims, whenever I meet them, I always ask them, why don't you read why don't you read the Torah and the Bible? Right? Because you know that those books have divine truths. At least from the perspective of Islam. You know that these two other books have divine truths. You don't have to agree that there's divine truth in Buddhism or Taoism or Confucianism or any of these other religions, right? But you know at least the other two. So why aren't you even furthering your education by reading these other books? Even if you believe they're corrupt, right? But there's also some truth with the corruption. Why aren't you reading it? You should read it too, you know. And I said that today, and someone, of course, got really upset, you know, and started calling me, berating me and calling me names and all that stuff, which is fine. But for me, myself, I'm glad that I reverted from Christianity to Islam, because now I have the foundation of Christianity, having read the Bible so many times inside out, and now I'm going into Islam, and I'm going to do the same thing with the Quran, and even as a Muslim, I will do the same thing with the Torah. After I'm done reading the Quran, from cover to cover, I'm going to go to the Torah. I'm going to make sure I read all three books, and I understand them inside and out. But yeah, I think it's important to at least have the knowledge and the awareness. Even though Islam is what I practice, it is my lifestyle. I worship Allah, right?
Well, what do you think the word Allah means?
What do I think it means? I know it means God. That's what it means to me. It's God.
I mean, sound it out. All Ah, all. So is that saying that everything is God?
Well, it's not an English word.
It may not be English, but my point is it's still a sound. And so all words are sounds. Just like the word Yahweh or Hashem. I mean, these are sounds. And so, they're used in incantations, in meditation, in chanting. Om, things like that. So what I'm trying to say is these are ways to clear the mind by chanting them. People say Allah, 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 like that. That is to essentially cleanse the mind of all the other words that your brain is constantly generating.
Yeah. For me, the name, a lot of the things we as human beings care so much about, I think in the grand scheme, a God that is omniscient and omnipowerful, omnipresent, that has just such a huge, vast, unimaginable, um, just unimaginable amount of knowledge. He's probably laughing at the things that we care about. It's almost like the kid when you're a kid and you get really upset because somebody won't let you play with a toy that you really want to play with. As an adult today, you wouldn't if a kid wanted to play with a toy that you had, Mojo, you would just give it to the kid. You wouldn't care about, making sure you play with it first, right? But for a child, that's a priority, and that means something to be able to play with his toy, you know. And so I think that's the way God kind of sees us as children with kind of a limited intelligence. I think that's how it kind of sees me, even me, that maybe sometimes I worry about things that don't really matter, you know. And the only really important thing is, again, to love God with all your heart and soul and all your strength, as best as you can, and let that be informed in the way you treat other people that He's created. So be kind to other people, you know. And of course, different human beings have different impressions of what kindness and love really looks like, and but everyone just do your best.
There's a thing about studying though. It's raising your intelligence. And when you raise your intelligence, you also raise your emotional intelligence. And that's what a lot of people haven't yet discovered on this app is that the higher the level of intelligence, the more books and the larger their language model and comprehension of those words, the higher their emotional intelligence will also be. And they won't engage in petty discourse and heated, angered conversation. That's a waste of time. That's for unintelligent people.
Exactly. Exactly. I actually left aside of Clubhouse because I started to realize that I had outgrown it. I started coming to different spaces.
But if you come back to teach people, to show them the enlightenment, you're a Buddha or a Bodhi. You're the Bodhisattva who returns to help other people achieve enlightenment. But I think only through intelligence can you probably get to that blessed state of divine understanding. And it takes work. Some people say it can be instantaneous, but I think I think until you know that it's stupid to road rage, you're still stupid. You haven't increased your intelligence enough.
Exactly. Why are you yelling at another guy in a car that you've never met before? You don't know what he's going through, and you will probably never see this human being again. Why is it so important that he knows that you are upset? Right? Especially if he's not going to do anything about it. He's not going to say, I apologize. He's not going to, he doesn't have any intention of doing that. And you will never see this human being, you probably never see this human being again.
Well, this goes back to, in my opinion, back to Israel Gaza. A well-trained soldier and an officer is a gentleman. They don't go out and commit murder, but they will pursue justice and fight enemies to the death. And a ninja, a samurai, doesn't get emotional when he goes out on an operation. That's a distraction to his outcome and his goals. So, part of education and training and discipline is the control of your emotions. And
Exactly.
so, so many people are figuring this out. I mean, a lot of people have been discussing this for thousands of years because an emotionally disequilibrated person who has no emotional, balance is going to lose the battle. It's like swordplay. So I mean, it's warfare.
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry, I was on mute. I was like, there's another group of people that will disagree with you and say that you know it's actually a show of strength to show that emotion and to be rambunctious and ferocious and argumentative. And when I meet people like that, I try to show them the other side, right? That it's actually a lot more powerful to be strategic than to be physically tactful. Like it's so much more powerful, right?
Well,
So much more power.
people say the pen is mightier than the sword, but they're not really understanding that it deals with their intelligence, not with their distribution of that information. I'm just saying that we could talk about this for 100 more hours, and it still wouldn't be worth one good book.
And that whole phrase, the pen being mightier than the sword, right? It's not just the pen, of course, the pen itself. But, some people may take it to mean writing, right? But it's about, again, strategy. It's about being strategic, right? Um, and how strategy will always supersede and exceed any tactical efforts. It's just more impactful. Yes, I'm with you, Mojo. Right? I'm with you on that. I agree with you on that. I think more people that disagree on the app can find more things that they agree on. It's just that the things that they disagree on are kind of hit home.
Well, if I could give you any advice, I would encourage you to enjoy wisdom in the same way that you might enjoy Thanksgiving, because you put a lot of different foods in your mouth and you like the flavor combination. So if you just go down the route of Islam, you will get tunnel vision and you will forget that there's many paths on the mountain. And it's don't just go on one hike, hike them all.
I do have tunnel vision now, and I'm aware of my tunnel vision, and I embrace it. However, even though I have a favorite mountain, right, and a favorite approach to God, I am interested in other mountains. Even though I love us, I'm in Atlanta. I don't know where you are, but over here we have a couple mountains. Even though I love Stone Mountain, that's my favorite mountain. And it's really scary, actually. The people that have fallen off to their death. So every time I go there, I'm terrified. I go alone, which is crazy. But I do like other mountains like Coastline and some of the smaller mountains like Sandy Springs and stuff. So, but my approach, my devotion, yes, is in Islam, because I've found not just a lifestyle um, that drives, not just the deity that drives me, the religion, but most importantly,
But what I want the most is for you to know that I know. You'll know, right? You'll know. You're just a dying man.
In a just world, I'd be shot for my lies, but not for this, not for the truth.
Scientist. And your idiot obsession with reason.
I'm putting this app right, and I love Clubhouse because it's kind of reframing my thinking about time. I'm building an app that is,
What road did you need?
I don't want to say destined to
He
fail,
didn't know what I was going to say.
What road did
but I'm not necessarily building it to succeed.
After all you've said and done
from a
today,
business
it
sense.
would be curious.
Right. If I was building a name to succeed in a business sense,
Think a man has
I
an
understand the
experience of
idea of
knowing life when he is.
people on the app
About something that isn't going to
and
happen.
keep them dating.
I worry about something that isn't going to happen. Oh, that's perfect. They should put that on our money.
Make the app a vibe. Make it attractive to, say, Gen Z, younger millennials. And just make it a vibe, make it fun. Make dating fun. But this app that I'm building makes dating more devotional. You know, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with it. It's almost like building a playground, but without toys. Because everything it's you get exclusivity from the onset. So you don't have all these matches and all these flavors.
What do you think about lying in relationships, or projection, or people who essentially don't want to say what they're actually all about or what they're doing? I mean, it seems to me like the birds and the bees aren't having huge conversations, when they're flying from here to there. So I'm just saying that I think a lot of people either just don't want to say what's going on in their lives, or they lie about what they're doing, or because many of these women are so ultra connected to their cell phone, because they literally, if you're on Hinge and Bumble and you've been talking to people for years, you're like a realtor harvesting clients. You see what I'm saying? You're not actually in it to be in a union with one person. So people really are, in a way, super polyamorous now, but no one will admit it because, I mean, a lot of women are looking for that boat daddy or that sugar daddy, or, they're looking for that for that windfall. They're gold diggers.
Exactly. And it's a cognitive dissonance to say I'm looking for the one, but I'm keeping my options open with 7 people around me. If any one of those 7 people are the one, how will you cultivate that relationship with them if you've got 600 distractions? Nobody can ever be the one. Like, the one doesn't even have a shot. Even if he's the one you like the most, okay, and you've built the strongest connection with. Even if he's the one you have the strongest connection with, you're surrounded by 7 other distractions. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. I think it is very polyamorous, and that's why I'm creating, hopefully, one of the only monogamous apps where you only get one match. You get one match until like you guys unmatch. Other matches, and you're encouraged to have a phone conversation versus texting on the app.
This is how it's been. Things for a while.
So I don't know how people are going to feel about that. But my thinking is that there'll be a lot of people that will that are longing for connection in the polyamorous world.
Talking about an IQ just north of the bedroom slipper. I stung him with this needle. This is just plain sailing, isn't it? Yeah. And he shouldn't feel a thing. Take heart.
Sorry guys, I'm just doing some washing before prayer. Wudu in Islam.
Were you abused by a member of the Catholic Church in Illinois when you were young? In 2024.
Seems a sermon a scene, I can't remember who it was, just last week in some movie on Turner Classic Movies, and the guy with him, it was The Harder They Fall. And Rod Steiger was acting with them. They were nose to nose acting, and Steiger was acting up a storm, and Bogart wasn't doing anything, and it was just great. He was just, there was no acting at all. He was just coasting on his personality and talking, and it was just magnetic, just wonderful. The other guys doing stuff that nobody in life ever does. Nobody talks like that. Nobody carries on like that. But
So your advice to kids getting into the business is coast on your personality?
It's do less. If I've given one direction more than any other in my whole life to actors, it's do less.
So when you did decide to have a surrogate, shall we call that, play you, because there are parts you could have played.
Oh yeah, sure.
And you chose John Cusack, or you chose Kenneth Branagh, or you chose Mia. Why? Like, why did you some of the time say, I'm going to do it, and then some of the time say, I'm going to have a surrogate deliver this baby?
I don't think I ever had a surrogate when I could have done it. I mean, I don't think I could have. I don't think I could have played. These are great actors you're talking about. Cusack's wonderful, and Kenneth Branagh's wonderful. And they were much younger than me. I couldn't have. If I could have done it, I would have done it. I always would do the part that I could do. But I aged out of it. I just, when I started to realize that I was not going to be the love interest anymore, and I started to think,
you're the love interest in your life. With all the craziness and the Kafka-esque nonsense you went through, and I don't defend you because I'm a fan, although I plainly am, although you've also made some turkeys, that's true. But you could be the worst filmmaker. I defend you because I don't like witch hunts. They're bad for society, they're bad for people, they're wrong, they're immoral. That's why I do it. Not because I'm a fan.
I'm sure your persona is much more socially engaged, much more politically engaged. So an issue, you would engage the issue on the merits of the issue.
Yes, and I see a connection between a lot of where the left went that I did not like in recent years and this kind of case, this kind of moralizing, this kind of bullshit, standing apart from the facts, just wanting to look like we're the good people and we shun this person and this person is canceled and that kind of stuff. I don't like it in any of its dimensions. Look, I always say about these cases, if you're not in the room, just don't say to me, I know. You don't know. I don't know about you. Nobody knows except you. I would just say that of all those kind of cases, the preponderance of evidence on the one side makes it just...
Okay, I'm gonna read from the Zohar. Have you ever heard of this book, Seneca? Okay, this is called What is a Serpent? These riddles confuse not only Rabbi Yosef, the cryptic language is intended to mystify the reader as well. And on the serpent, all the animals go in pairs while the serpent goes on the road all alone. Most of the images in the first two riddles allude to various stages in the process of Gilgul, reincarnation, one of the most esoteric doctrines of the Zohar. The riddle of the beautiful maidens is expounded below. These are all the notes to the different pages. Okay, this is the glossary. Aleph, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, the beginning of divine and human speech. Aleph, Baal Shem Tov, master of the good name. Title of Israel, son of Eliezer, charismatic founder of Hasidism, 1700 to 1760. The Baal Shem Tov. Bahir, Sefer HaBahir, Book of Righteous, Book of Brightness. An early Kabbalistic work cited in southern France in the late 12th century, the Bahir. Bina, understanding the third Sephira, the Divine Mother who gives birth to the seven lower Sephira. Blessed Holy One, common rabbinic name for God. In the Zohar, it is often associated with Tiferet, Blessed Holy One. Din, judgment, the fifth Sephira, the left arm of the divine body, counterbalancing Chesed, the roots of evil lie here, also called Gevurah. Din, judgment. Ein Sof, there is no end, that which is boundless, the infinite, the ultimate reality of God beyond all specific qualities of the Sephirot. Okay, I'm going to change the title to Jewish Glossary. Jewish Glossary of Hebrew Words in Zohar. Let's see if anybody shows up for this impromptu Tanya Torah study. My man Rondale in the house. Hey, Rondale!
Hey, Raboino Shalom.
Raboino Shalom. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this impromptu Hebrew study. Here we go. I need to get water, though, real quick. Okay, Moshe, I hope you enjoy this as well. The next word is Gedulah, greatness. The fourth Sephira, the outpouring of God's great goodness, also called Chesed. Greatness, Gedulah. Gevura, power. The fifth Sephira, also called Din. Gematria, the numerical value of Hebrew letters, or gematria, employed as a technique of interpretation. I thought it was interpenetration, but it's interpretation. Chassid, devotee, pious one. Hasidism, popular religious movement that emerged in the second half of the 18th century in Eastern Europe. Hasidism. Chesed, love, the fourth Sephira, the right arm of the divine body counterbalancing Din, also called Gedulah. Gedulah, greatness, and Chesed, love. Chod, majesty, the eighth Sephira, the left leg of the divine body, source of prophecy, along with Netzach. Chod, majesty. Chokmah, wisdom. Chokmah, wisdom, the second Sephirah, the primal point of emanation. Holy Ancient One, the most ancient manifestation of Ein Sof through Keter, its crown. Holy Ancient One, Idra, threshing floor assembly. Idra Rabbah, the great Idra, a description of the gathering of Rabbi Shimon and the comrades at the threshing house where secrets of God's inner being are expounded, threshing out the secrets of Zohar. Idrazuta, the small Idra, a description of the death of Rabbi Shimon and his final teachings in the Zohar, the wedding celebration. Kabbalah, receiving, that which is handed down by tradition, the esoteric teachings of Judaism, Kabbalah, Keter, crown, the first Sephira, co-eternal with Ein Sof, also called Ratzon, divine will, and Ayin, nothingness. Malkut, kingdom, the 10th Sephirah administering divine justice to the lower worlds, also called Shekinah. Malkut, kingdom, Shekinah. Matnitin, our Mishnah, short pieces scattered through the Zohar. Most of them appear as utterances of a heavenly voice urging the comrades to open their hearts to the mysteries. Menorah, candelabrum of 7 branches, a prominent feature of the Mishkan. Mezuzah, parchment scroll affixed to the doorpost. Mezuzah. Midrash, plural midrashim, legal or homiletical interpretation of the Bible. Midrash. A collection of midrashim, the midrashic literature. Midrash ha-ne'alam, the concealed midrash, the esoteric midrash, the earliest stratum of the Zohar. Mishkan, God's dwelling in the desert, the tabernacle constructed by Moses and the children of Israel. Mishnah, collection of oral teachings redacted, arranged, and revised around the beginning of the 3rd century by Rabbi Judah Hanasi, the earliest codification of Jewish oral law. Mishnah. Mitzvah, plural is mitzvot, divine commandment, one of the 613 precepts of the Torah. By extension, good deeds. Netzah, endurance, 7th Sephira, the right leg of the divine body, source of prophecy, along with Hod. Nishmato Eden, may his soul abide in the Garden of Eden. Oral Torah, the interpretation of the written Torah. In Kabbalah, a symbol of Shekinah. Oral Torah. Kav Hamidah, the standard of measure, a detailed explanation of the process of emanation, delivered by Rabbi Shimon. Kav Hamidah, the standard of measure. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm going to read. I hope you enjoy. It's the glossary of the Zohar. Okay, I'm going to create a new room. Seneca Rondell. See you soon. Bye.
Gaza. I didn't know.
I didn't know really about that.
Abraham is telling me about South Africa. I went to University of Pretoria in 2014. Most people don't care about Israel. This is what they call political posturing.
Political posturing.
A lot of South Africans feel some kind of way about Israel because of apartheid. Fair enough. It has nothing to do with Gaza. They feel some kind of way. So that's one country. Then if you're the African Union, that's not.
Okay, this is the return of Mojo. My man Brian there. Welcome back to the return of Mojo. We are live and we're going to keep studying. I'm not going to listen to all these people practicing English on here. No. We are going to read a book. This is the return of Mojo. Look at all those bots that just come flying in. The return of Mojo. Rondell, you coming up? And Rondell, have you contributed to the campaign yet? I think the link is in my profile. You know, I know you do a lot of day trading, but $100 will help us get, 50 signatures So please consider contributing now. I have a lot of work to do on the campaign, but we're going to do a little Toyota study here. A little Toyota study. Okay, this is the rest of the glossary. Ra'aya Mahimna, the faithful shepherd, an early imitation of the Zohar, so successful that it was printed as part of the work. It expounds the mystical significance of the mitzvot. The Ra'aya Mahimna. Rahamim, compassion. Six, the Sephira, balancing Hesed. Din, also called Tiferet. Rashi, Rabbi Salman, son of Isaac, French commentator on the Bible and the Talmud. Rashi. Ratza de Ratzin, the mystery of mysteries, an anonymous piece of physiognomy and chiromancy. The Ratza de Ratzin, the mystery of mysteries. Ruth, the book of Ruth. Sava de Mishpatim, the old man of Mishpatim, Torah portion, an account of the comrades' encounter with a donkey driver who turns out to be a master of wisdom. The old man and the beautiful maiden. Sephirah, one of 10 aspects of God, 9 of which emanate from Ein Sof and Keter. Sephirah. Shalom, peace, well-being, completeness. Shalom, peace, well-being, and completeness. Shalom. Shalom. Shekhinah. Shekhinah, divine presence. 10 Sephirah, female partner of Tiferet, also called Malkut. Shir HaShirim, Song of Songs. Sifra di Zeniuta, the Book of Concealment. Fragmented commentary on the beginning of the Torah in short, obscure sentences divided into 5 chapters. It deals with the secrets of divinity. Sifra di Zeniuta, the Book of Concealment. Sitrei Torah, Secrets of Torah. Pieces of verses from Genesis, printed in separate columns, parallel to the main text of the Zohar. They contain allegories of the soul and secrets of the divine and demonic. Sitrei Torah, Secrets of Torah. Sukkah, booth, Sukkot, booth, Sukkot, festival of booths, celebration of the harvest, and a commemoration of the children of Israel's dwelling in booths in the desert after the exodus from Egypt. Talmud, the body of teaching comprising commentary and discussion on the Mishnah from scholars of the 3rd to 6th centuries. Talmud. Targum, translation of the Bible into Aramaic. Targum, translation. Targum Onkelos, a Targum on the Torah, composed by a proselyte named Onkelos in the 2nd century. Targum Onkelos. Tav, the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Tav. Tiferet, beauty. The 6th Sephirah, male partner of Shekinah, trunk of the divine body, also called Rachamim, Tiferet, beauty. Tikkunei Zohar, embellishments on the Zohar. Oh, hey, Dawn, I'm reading what's called a book. Embellishments of on the Zohar, an early imitation of the Zohar, a wide-ranging commentary on the first portion of the Torah. Tikkunei Zohar. Torah, teaching. The first 5 books of the Bible, by extension, all religious teaching. Torah. Tosafot, collections of comments on the Talmud and on Rashi's commentary on the Talmud, composed between the 12th and 14th centuries in France and Germany. Tosafot. Tosefta, addenda, short pieces scattered through the Zohar. Most of them appear as utterances of a heavenly voice urging the comrades to open their hearts to the mysteries. Tosefta. The world that is coming, see above, and notes to Korban and Odlah. Written Torah. First 5 books of the Bible. In Kabbalah is symbol of Tiferet. Yanuka, the child. Story of a wonder child who teaches the comrades profound secrets. The rabbis encounter a child, Yanuka, the child. Yanuka. Yesod, foundation. The 9th Sephirah, who channels the flow of emanation to Shekhinah, also called Zadik. Yesod, foundation. Ya, short form of Yahweh that appears in poetry. Ya. Yahweh, the ineffable name of God. In the Zohar, it is often associated with Tiferet. Yahweh. Zadik, righteous one. The 9th Sephirah, Yesod, Zadik, righteous one. Zohar, splendor. Radiance. Splendor and radiance. Zohar. Zohar Hadash, New Zohar, a collection of Zoharic texts found in manuscripts of the Safed Kabbalists after the printing of the bulk of the Zohar. Title is misleading since the volume contains much of Midrash Ha-Ne'alam, the oldest stratum of the Zohar. Okay, that's the glossary of the Zohar. I hope you like that reading. What do you think, Rondell?
I liked it. The Zohar.
I'm gonna block this coach. Fucking spammers.
That guy is a scammer, Coach Dave Lucas.
Yeah, pathetic. Okay, this is the return of Mojo. We're gonna listen to the rest of Woody Allen here on Club Random.
Very unlikely that you were guilty of this. It just, none of it makes sense.
You know, I want to make one other point on what you were saying a moment ago. There's a difference between the Me Too movement and the cancel culture. I mean, the Me Too movement, for whatever